Hey crypto YouTubers, this is CoinPicker.us doing something a little bit different today. I am talking about a trade I just executed. For those of you that are in my membership area, you're aware that I talked about I was going to be buying into EOS, that I traded Ethereum for a little bit. So I'm battling back and forth. Now, the market has been down significantly. I think it went from 8,300 down to 79. Now it's bouncing back a little bit. And I went ahead and decided to trade because I had made a fairly good size investment into Ethereum. I made a profit on that, not a large one, but it was in a down market. In a down market, I turned several $100s profit on a trade. Then I decided to go into EOS because I had pegged EOS as a potentially really strong trade at that time. In fact, I'd mentioned it in previous videos to my subscribers, but I just want to show you that in a down market, you can easily, on a daily basis, nail, you know, 10, 15% plus trades, which depending on what you're trading, if you're trading $1,000, that may be $100, $150, which is nothing to sneeze at for just basically picking the right trend. Or if you're trading 2,000, you're at $300. And this sounds like one of those scams, but I'm going to show you a little bit of detail as to what I did. All right, so just so you know, let's see if I can show it to you. Actually, I don't think my screen is set up to show you when I bought in. But I bought in at around 12.40, so we're now at just shy of 13. That's where I bought in, $12.40. In fact, it was a little bit more complicated than that because I was trading out of Ethereum into EOS. So it's not a BTC-based trade. But nonetheless, when I convert back out, it all works out in the wash. Okay, so thus far it's been a fairly profitable trade. Again, in a day when the market is down. So I've made several hundreds of dollars on a very relatively small trade. How did I do that? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so I'm on my Binance trade screen right now, and I'm at a 6-hour envelope. I've got CCI and Bollinger Bands. Let's swap out for Stochastic RSI. Okay. What I did was let's see here. I want to give you the exact numbers here. I'm going to have to probably dial this down a little bit. Might actually have to go to 12 hours on it. Yeah. Okay. So when did I buy in? I bought in right at around 18. So I don't know if you can see those numbers, 0.0184-ish, right around that area. I bought in right around there. Now, why did I buy in around there? Look at what the setup was. I had a very seriously overextended stochastic RSI. Let's also, we don't really need and I was at the lower bound, more or less at the lower bound of the not strictly, but at the lower bound of the Bollinger Bands. And I want to show you one of my favorites. CCI at the time was bent fairly aggressively up. Now, if we dial back our time frame, and actually we have to dial it up a little bit maybe here. Yeah. Okay. This shows you even in better terms. On a daily basis, in a daily basis, I could tell we were more or less a coiled spring. We had a very dramatic drop. We're at the lower bound of the Bollinger Bands. CCI was just returning to an upward bent. And let's get back to stochastic RSI here. And stochastic RSI was showing that we had a crossover. So everything was lined up. Everything was lined up. I dove in the market. I placed my trade. It actually took me 2 trades to get in. I wish I could show. I don't know if I can do this here. I'd like to show you the trade actually. It's right below the screen. I don't know if I can show. Maybe I can do that. No, can't show you the trade. Yeah, I had to buy in at 2. I had to divide up the purchase into 2 separate trades. I got in at roughly 1240. And I'm still riding the trade. Why am I still riding the trade? Because it's got a significant upside potential. So I'm already ballpark 4% ish in profit in a couple of hours, 10 hours. I'm expecting to be probably, uh, I would say by the time I clear out of this trade, I would not be surprised to be at 15% in profit. And that is in a down market. So the reason I'm showing this to you is that I don't care whether the market's going up or down if I'm willing to narrow my time frame. Or I should say even just change the time frame, because if you're in a downtrending market, you can extend your time frame, buy in, and create a positive return in a longer time frame. Also, this is more typical, by the way. That's a little bit more rare. You also have to have a better macro picture. The more typical scenario is what I'm doing. In a relatively downtrending market where we were at 8,400 or 8,300 when I entered the trade, we're now at 8,000, which I probably should check, but let's just call it 8,000-ish for Bitcoin. And yet, I was able to find a trade that gave me a significant positive return. I mean, keep in mind, a 5% return aggregated on a daily basis, meaning if you execute a couple of 5% returns uh, over a week, you've got a whopper return at the end of the week. At the end of a month, you're crushing it. I'm not saying I can do it all the time, but this isn't atypical for my trades. I've gotten back into it now that I have more time and I'm more devoted to producing content. But I just wanted to show it to you. It is absolutely possible. This is a real live trade. It's going right now. Could it turn against me? Sure, it could. I'm not expecting it to. Everything is indicated based on what I'm seeing here for it to rise further. Even I would say if you're watching it, it is still a potential good trade. Now, the interesting thing about this trade is normally I go in on a BTC basis. I did not. I went on an Ethereum basis. So I'm EOS to Ethereum. I'm eventually going to cross over to BTC on this trade, but even with that added complexity, it's still a very positive trade. I'm cruising up towards in a day probably 5% return, and I would expect by the time I clear out this trade, probably if I had to guess, I would say I should get out of this trade. Um, I've targeted, because we're at 0.18752, I've targeted in the neighborhood of 2 plus in that range. Well, 0.00200 in that range would be a really nice trade. It'll be, um, what most people would call a pretty good week. But I would expect it to be another day or two. So we'll see how it goes, but I just wanted to let everybody know. And in my subscriber, and by the way, anybody can subscribe. Just go ahead and fill out your email on my coinpicker.us, and you're on my subscriber list if you want all the details on these trades and some of the training and additional things like that. That, of course, is for the premium subscribers, but you can do pretty darn well just following my free email blast. So I encourage everybody to sign up for that. But this is coinpicker.us, and I will keep everyone updated on this trade, and we will talk with you later.